Oh, you must be wondering about the headphones. Well, these headphones take me to 2022, and right now in 2022 I can hear the screams of the MCU fans while they're viewing the DCEU killing it. Welcome back to Movies TV Man, and you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily. On today's show, we hear from Ben Affleck as he discusses his experience, his positive experience of Andy Muschietti and filming Flashpoint. We then hear from George Clooney, who talks about the Flash movie as well. And finally, I will read you out every single name that's been announced for Fandom thus far, including the confirmation of Patty Jenkins and one J.J. Abrams, which is very, very exciting. So let's begin. Ben Affleck compares playing Batman in the Flash movie to Justice League. Ben Affleck is highly complimentary of his experience filming The Flash compared to filming for Justice League, which he says was difficult. Let's be absolutely clear, he's not talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, he's talking about Justice League, by Brendan Kim of Screen Rant. Ben Affleck, who plays the current incarnation of Batman in Warner Bros. DCEU, recently talked about his experience working on Andy Muschietti's upcoming The Flash. Compared to his time filming for the controversial Justice League, the 49-year-old actor first debuted in the role in 2016's Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, where he portrayed a more grizzled and experienced version of the iconic superhero compared to previous cinematic iterations. Affleck's performance alone is generally praised, even though the DCEU's interpretation of Batman and his mythos, as conceived by Zack Snyder, is more controversial. Most notably, the DCEU's Batman has no qualms with killing. Can I just say this about the killing thing, because I don't think I've really discussed where I stand on this. I couldn't give a shit if Batman kills. In my imagination, if anyone's going to kill, it's going to be Batman. Now, I know die-hard Batman fans don't like that, and I'm glad with Matt Reeves' The Batman he won't be killing. And I'm happy for the fans to be happy, but I never really cared that he killed. In fact, when I first saw PVS, I didn't really notice he was killing people. I just saw it as him beating people up. But anyway, I didn't care. Killing criminals, breaching the no-killing rule that the vast majority of Batman interpretations abide by. 6 years later, Affleck is set to return in The Flash. It was, some believe, maybe his final outing in the role, or maybe not. Following the release of Batman vs Superman, Affleck's next substantial appearance as Batman was in 2017's Justice League. His brief cameo in 2016's Suicide Squad, which was also awesome, notwithstanding Warner Bros. Infamously interfered in Justice League's production, especially after Snyder left the project, in the midst of filming to attend to family-related matters. Despite the controversial reactions towards Snyder's films, the director's colleagues often praise him for fostering an inclusive and collaborative environment on set, something that replacement director Joss Whedon was evidently unable to emulate. Fortunately, Affleck seems to be enjoying his time more on the set of The Flash. In a recent interview with Variety, Affleck was highly complimentary of his experience filming for The Flash, saying that he had a great time. He says it was a really nice way to revisit Batman, as the prior experience, i.e. Justice League, had been difficult. They keep on saying Justice League, but it's Justice League. Check out the actor's full comments below. The Flash was a really nice way to revisit Batman, as the prior experience had been difficult. This was really lovely, really fun. He also said, I had a great time before cracking. I'm probably under some gag order that I'm not even aware that I probably just violated, and I'm now going to be sued. He gushed over Miller as well, as being able to shoot in the UK. I love Ezra, and I had a chance to see Jason Momoa, who's over there making Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom, Affleck said. So it's just brilliant finally to hear Ben talking about his role in The Flash, because since it's been announced he hasn't said one syllable, which always concerned me that he was doing this under duress because of contractual obligations, but that's not the case, and I'm so happy he enjoyed his time filming Andy Muschietti's Flash movie, and I'm so excited for it, and I know that most of you are as well. Although the Flash's production hasn't been without flaws either. What? Was this an Elseworld shooting? Director Muschietti is steering clear of Justice League's more egregious missteps. Those involved with the film including Michael Keaton. God, these people just talk shit. Or maybe he's talking about Justice League, I don't know. Steering clear of Justice League's more egregious missteps, those involved with the film, including Michael Keaton, who is also reprising his role as Batman, have been effusive about their time on set. The sum of Affleck's, Keaton's and many others' comments indicates that Muschietti's film will be at the very least feature a number of spirited performances. It appears that the Justice League fiasco was enough of a wake-up call for Warner Brothers to improve working conditions with their future productions. Director James Gunn's comments regarding his creative freedom over 2021's The Suicide Squad seem to be a step in that direction, with Warner Brothers releasing a slew of new films next year. Hopefully The Flash, as well as the 3 other DC films releasing alongside it, proves that DC's new direction is a permanent change rather than a one-off anomaly. Well, I'm very excited. I'm glad that Andy Muschietti is a big fan of Zack Snyder, that he's consulted with Zack Snyder. In fact, I can exclusively tell you today, because people just don't understand how connected I am, well, I'm going to tell you how connected I am. When Andy Muschietti first signed up and he was told that Justice League would be canon, he offered his resignation to Walter Hamada and said that's not the film he wanted to make. And it was obvious to him and a lot of other DCEU directors he consulted with that everyone wanted the Snyder Cut to be canon and not Justice League. Andy Muschietti wasn't very complimentary about Joss Whedon and his film, and he wouldn't do the Flash movie without the Snyder Cut being canon. So he got his way, he convinced Warner Brothers and Walter Hamada. They shouldn't have needed convincing, but he said, listen, you know, I don't basically know the personal gripes between you two, but this is about the fans, the movie, the future of the DCEU, and Andy's a great guy. I have so much faith in Andy, and it's wonderful to hear Ben so happy and proud to be playing Batman again. Is this his final appearance? Nobody knows. I hope not. It would be pretty dumb to delete Batfleck. Even if you're not going to involve him for a while after Flashpoint, at least give him an opportunity to come back in cameos, and yes, please, release the Batfleck movie, make the Batfleck movie. It's something that we all want to see. Now, before I carry on, 2 rumours. Faora and Deathstroke are rumoured to be returning to the DCEU. Now, apparently what happened with the actress Faora, apparently she's in the UK or something, and she's got the same, she's cut her hair short because it was long, and she posted on Instagram. Andy Muschietti liked that post. I loved Faora. Another great piece of female inclusion. She's a really strong female. She kicks butt in Man of Steel, and I want to see her again. And it would be great, even on the Flashpoint Earth, to see her again. So hopefully we do. Now, unrelated to the Flash movie, the actor who obviously played Deathstroke in the Snyder Cut did tease a few months ago that something could be in development with him reprising his role, and there's a rumour that there's a Deathstroke project with him coming. But going back to the Flash movie, I assure you, he's another one who's going to be in that movie. It seems to me that the Flash movie is going to celebrate everything and everyone from the DCEU thus far. And that's a great thing. We already know so many DC characters are going to cameo and appear. Not just DCEU characters, Arrowverse characters, and from other live action iterations of the past. It's such an exciting time to be a DC fan. George Clooney explains why his Batman isn't in the Flash movie. George Clooney explains why his Batman isn't in Andy Muschietti and Ezra Miller's The Flash, unlike Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck's iterations, by Anna Damarog of Screen Rant. George Clooney reveals why he's not reprising Batman in The Flash. Andy Muschietti's upcoming DCEU standalone film is in the final stretch of production. While plot specifics are still being kept under wraps, don't expect Batman and Robin's iteration of Bruce Wayne in the project, as Clooney has now confirmed that he's not involved in the much anticipated blockbuster. Starring Ezra Miller as the Scarlet Speedster, there are several details about The Flash that have been previously confirmed. Making her DCEU return is Kiersey Clemons as Iris West, who debuted in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut after being cut from its theatrical version in 2017. Meanwhile, the project will also see the introduction of a brand new superhero in Sasha Calle as Supergirl Kara Zor-El. Well, we don't know if it's the version of Kara Zor-El Screen Rant. Arguably the most talked about aspect of the project thus far, however, is the involvement of previous versions of the Caped Crusader. Both Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck are set to reprise their versions of Batman, as revealed by various set images, not to mention personal comments from the actors themselves. However, don't expect Clooney to show up wearing his old superhero costume in The Flash. Speaking with Variety in the light of the release of his latest directorial gig, The Tender Bar, the actor shared that he's not going to be in the DCEU film because he wasn't asked to be part of it. He then proceeded to joke about how it's a justified decision considering Batman and Robin's quality. Read Clooney's quote below. "They didn't ask me. When you destroy a franchise the way I did usually, they look the other way. I did have great nipples. It was winter all the time." I don't think George ruined any franchise. Listen, I was put off of Batman in live action, even when Batman Begins was being promoted. And it's only when I watched Batman Begins I was kind of, wow, yes, this is the way you make a Batman film. George Clooney is a great actor, a great guy, and, you know, I don't hold anything against him. He was cast to play one of the biggest characters in fiction. Why would you refuse it? He's not Batman. He's not Bruce Wayne. He was very famous. He'd come off the back of ER, great popularity. WB cast him because they thought, let's cast a popular actor. It didn't work out. It's one of those things. In terms of a film, Batman Robin is still highly entertaining, and it's not as bad as people say it is. But yeah, it's not the greatest Batman film. There's no question about that. And to be honest, thanks to the internet, I heard about the bat nipples because I really didn't notice them while I watched the film. When you get involved with the internet, they find everything and they spoil so many things for people. I don't really care about the bat nipples. The final installment of Warner Brothers' first Batman movie franchise, Batman and Robin, was fast-tracked as the studio wanted to capitalise on the success of Batman Forever. However, Val Kilmer wasn't able to reprise the titular role, resulting in the casting of Clooney. In the end, the project was a massive blockbuster disappointment, earning just $238.2 million globally, against a production budget of $160 million. It was also critically panned, so much so that it's been dubbed one of the worst films ever made. I don't agree, but instead of harbouring regret and resentment for being involved in it, Clooney has learned to laugh it off, as proven by his latest comment. With a multiversal narrative, The Flash can still bring Clooney's Batman in. While production is nearing its end, the movie isn't due until November of next year. Keaton and Affleck's involvement will more likely be significant to the story, but if Warner Brothers wants to loosen up and just involve more versions of the Caped Crusader, they can find a simple way for a brief Clooney cameo. Perhaps they might be even able to do that with Kilmer and Christian Bale. Listen, everyone's going to be in this film. It wouldn't surprise me if George Clooney's actually lying. I would be more than okay for George to be involved. Who wouldn't want George Clooney involved in the franchise they stand? The man's a fucking legend. I do think Christian Bale is also going to be involved in it. Wouldn't surprise me if Val Kilmer suits up as well. But the rumour is they're trying to keep away from those versions of Batman. But who knows? Anything's possible. But basically, I love George Clooney. And there were elements of his Bruce Wayne that were really cool. So, no harm done, George. Still love ya. Right, yesterday something really exciting happened. Yes, because DC announced some of the names that would be at DC Fandom 2021 on October the 16th. This will be a week on Saturday, and here on Movies TV Mad, I'm going to be all over DC Fandom, because if you're a DC fan and not all over DC Fandom, Are you even really a DC fan? Anyway, these are the names that they released. So we got Patrick Redding, Matt Reeves, John Ridley, Jaden Rodriguez, Petter Surgeon, Rachel Scarston, Tiffany Smith, Scott Snyder, Angel Manuel Soto, I need to close up, Freddie Storm, then we've got Reggie Hudlin, we've got Chukwindia Weir, we've got Patty Jenkins. Very exciting, because last week I predicted that on Fandom she would announce Wonder Woman 3. She could also be there for the 80th anniversary of Wonder Woman, but I assume she's there to talk about Wonder Woman 3. Very exciting. Cameron Johnson, Dwayne Johnson, Jeremy Jordan, Echo Colum, Zoe Kravitz, Zoe Kravitz, Jim Lee, and Lee May. Right, we move on. Chyla Lee, Javika Leslie, Zachary Levi, Terry Latam, Nicole Maines, Xolo Maradunia, Scott Menville, Todo McFarlane, Katie McGrath, Ezra Miller will be there too. Very exciting. Jason Momoa, Anson Mount, Donald Mustard, Staz Nair, Cam Newton, Roberto Patino, Robert Pattinson will be there, confirmed. Candice Patton, Gino Quillimar, Jesse Raff, and there's more. Let's look at these. Right, we carry on with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. J.J. Abrams will be at DC Fandom. Very exciting. Steve Agee, Melissa Benoist, Matt Bomber, Ed Boon, Fula Borg, Eriko Borgo, Danielle Brooks, what's that? Mechard Brooks. I need to close up again. Piers Brosnan will be at Fandom. Very exciting. Jeffrey Brown, Nandi Bushell, Gabby Can, Linda Carter will also be at Fandom. Interesting. I think she plays a big role in Wonder Woman 3. She cameoed in the first one. I think they're continuing that thread in the third film. Interesting. All right, so we've got John Cena, Noah Centineo, Christian Covry, Dennis Cowan, Kaylee Cuoco. We continue. Leslie Grace will be at DC Fandom, our wonderful, beautiful, talented new Batgirl. So please be supportive on social media for her and show her how wonderful and welcoming DC fans are. Leslie Grace, James Gunn, Grant Gustin will be at Fandom, David Harewood, Justin Hartley, because of Injustice, will be there. Sefton Hill, Aldis Hodge. Aldis Hodge will be there from Black Adam. Very exciting. He's our Hawkman. Christina Hodgson will be there, the writer of the Flashpoint movie. Very exciting. And actually, Christina is a big fangirl, so she does have my respect. Tyler Heckling, our Superman. Jennifer Holland, who's married to James Gunn and who was involved in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and will be involved in Peacemaker. Aline Deans, Gareth Dunce, Locker, Ava DuVernay, oh well, Adil El Abui, Jordan Alas, Bilal Falah, Ron Funches, Alex Garfin, Elizabeth, is it Gillies? Is that Elizabeth Giles? Gillies from Dynasty, what's she doing there? Julie Gonzalo, we love Julie Gonzalo. So, that's all the names they've released thus far. But one final tease for DC Fandom, and that's this. Fucking wow. This is from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Wow. He looks fucking ferocious, fierce. That's our Aquaman. Really exciting. So there's a lot of names. Patty Jenkins and Linda Carter will be there. As I say, I think partially that's to celebrate 80 years of Wonder Woman, especially with Linda being there. I think Patty will definitely announce Wonder Woman 3 now. I know that she's been confirmed, and I think Linda will have an involvement in that film. They may even confirm it. Very exciting. Did I read out Gal Gadot's name? Gal Gadot's name wasn't there. I'm sure she'll be involved, surely. Come on. There'll be a little video or something. Maybe she's busy making something else. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure Gal will be there. But people like Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck haven't been announced. But it does say, and many more. So I'm still holding out hope. Who knows? I believe there will be many, many surprises from the DC live action universe, the DCEU, the live action TV shows as well. Now, the one I really want to delve into, the one that's been announced now, is J.J. Abrams, because he's involved with a Justice League Dark TV series, a Zatanna TV series, but the most important thing to me is that he's producing the Ta-Nehisi Coates written Black Superman movie. Now, I believe we will hear something about this film, and I can't wait to hear more details. Now, will we have an official casting of this brand new Superman on DC Fandom? I hope so. And he'll probably announce a director. Could it be Ava DuVernay? I would not be happy about this. I don't like Ava DuVernay. I don't like her politics. I think she's pretty toxic. I'm happy she didn't make New Gods, but she has been given some little character on the CW, so How the Mighty Have Fallen. But look, I'm not a fan. I'm sure she's a lovely lady. I could sit there drinking coffee and talking about movies with her for ages, but yeah, I don't like her public persona. She's part of the mafia, the entertainment mafia, and you know, I don't like the noises they make. But anyway, it doesn't matter. She's there. But I certainly don't want her to direct the Superman movie. And if she does, I will be hugely disappointed. Of course, I will support all DC live action, especially the movies. But it will make me very concerned, considering her politics are very seriously toxic. But anyway, we will see. Hopefully they choose the right person for the job and not someone for political reasons. So yeah, I expect J.J. Abrams definitely to talk about the Superman movie, Justice League Dark, Constantine. He's doing Constantine. So J.J. Abrams is going to have a hell of a lot of announcements. But Matt Reeves will be there as well. And he did have a little tweet about the upcoming event on Twitter. So while quote tweeting the advert, the ad for DC Fandom and all those names that were announced yesterday, which was very exciting, of course, Matt Reeves said this: "Can't wait to see you. Join me and your favourite DC stars, creators and special guests to celebrate all things DC Comics and the world's greatest fans. I'm so excited for DC Fandom. See you there on Saturday, October the 16th at 10 AM. PT at dcfandom.com. So very exciting. Now, let me just talk about the scheduling for DC Fandom if you're from Europe. Now, he talks about 10 AM. Well, it's not going to be 10 AM for you and me in Europe, in the UK, Cyprus, or wherever you're from. It's going to start maybe, I don't know, probably 10 AM. Is that going to be 4 in the afternoon, 5, 6 in the afternoon, something like that? So basically, we're going to be up to the early hours. What happened to me last year, Matt Reeves' The Batman segment was on last. I tried to stay up, fell asleep, and I missed that whole thing, and I was so gutted. But I'm definitely staying up this year because this is huge, and I think we're going to get bigger surprises, bigger announcements. You know, they're really going to attempt to outdo themselves this year. So it's great to hear from Matt Reeves there. So Matt Reeves will be there to talk about some more about the Batman. We know that Zoe Kravitz and what's his name? Robert Pattinson. How can I forget his name? Robert Pattinson will be there. The Batman is their next movie, so they're going to spend a hell of a lot of time at Fandom plugging it because it's their next project, but they're going to plug all these films. And you, most of you like me, are truly excited. This event can't come soon enough. A week on Saturday. And here at Movies TV Mad and on my socials, especially Twitter and on here, we'll be covering every decibel of it because it's exciting. Make no mistake, you don't know what's going to happen at this event. Big, shocking, surprising announcements that you can't imagine. Shocking, surprising, exciting announcements that are going to make you, as a DC fan, extremely happy. I'm talking about games, documentaries, movies, whatever your thing is, and comics, of course. You know, whatever your thing is within the DC universe, you've got to be there. Be there from the beginning, stay to the end. Don't be me last year falling asleep because you couldn't handle it. I'm going to be drinking lots of coffee this year. It truly is a fantastic event. And a lot of people criticise Ann Sarnoff, but she's done a lot of good things for Warner Brothers Pictures since she's been there. The Snyder stuff was a difficult situation to handle. It wasn't of her making, let's not forget that, but they had to handle a very awkward situation. I'm not saying they handled it well, but ultimately, how do you handle an explosive situation like that when you're trying to create a new plan to bring in as many of the broader audience as possible? It's difficult. But now with the Flash movie pretty much making the Snyder Cut canon, I think everyone's put their personal feelings to bed, and at least we can say yes, we're heading to a more positive place. The inception of the DCEU will always be looked on by some as a disaster, some as, you know, perfection. I see it as perfection. I don't know why they interfered. They should have allowed Snyder just to finish up, but they didn't. And it's history. And there's nothing we can do about it. Justice League was an absolute clusterfuck and a mistake, but that wasn't Walter Hamada's decision, it wasn't Ann Sarnoff's decision, and it wasn't Jim Lee's decision. Now for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about David Zaslav and Discovery. One of the things we've discussed before is how he is taking advice, not just from people inside of Warner Brothers, but importantly, outside. And one name would have been mentioned a lot. Toby Emmerich. Toby Emmerich, from the people who made those terrible decisions, is the only one still there. Toby Emmerich is a dead man walking. He will not be there. He will be replaced. They would rather give the guy who's at the moment the CEO of Warner Media, Jason Kilar, because he's been a gentleman. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. You could say the day and date he's putting a foot wrong. He did what he had to do for his company and the pandemic kind of environment. At the end of the day, you wouldn't have known what to do. No other studio was taking that footstep. They all wanted to, and it was Warner Media and Jason Kilar who made that brave decision. I prefer Kilar to Toby Emmerich, so if we could keep him but lose Emmerich, I'd be happy, because he's the one who went up to Zack Snyder and suggested that he release the rough cut of the Snyder Cut. So everyone's going to be telling David Zaslav to remove him. And I believe a few months ago, if you remember earlier this year, there was a big rumour that Emmerich went to Netflix looking for a job. Of course, after Sandros finished laughing, he said, "On your bike, mate. No one's going to touch this guy." And I don't know why he's still there. That's down to AT&T and Ann Sarnoff as the CEO and chair of Warner Brothers Pictures. She should have removed him. But I do think he's the one who brought J.J. Abrams on board, and I think that was something that he's been holding over them. But I think what it is with Zaslav and Discovery, they're going to say, "Get out, mate. Get out." So he's a dead man walking. He's the only one left. Jeff Johns is in a really insignificant corner, you know, making Stargirl, making great Stargirl, but he hasn't really got an influence. He may write a DC movie one day, but he will never have real power in the DC live action universe again. They understand that that's just too controversial. So he's gone. All the other people have gone. The person who ran Warner Brothers when he was making these decisions, you know, he's gone. So everyone's gone apart from Toby Emmerich. And once he's gone, I think we can say it's been, the slate's been wiped clean. You know, you can't hate Walter Hamada, right? He's a guy who's had a tough job. He came to take over a really difficult gig. Ann Sarnoff has a great CV, and Jim Lee, you know, you can't hate Jim Lee. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, how can we hate Uncle Jim? He's absolutely fantastic. He's a great artist. He knows, nobody knows more about these DC characters and universes than Jim Lee. So I think Walter Hamada, Ann Sarnoff and Jim Lee are a great team. And all the announcements we've had since we've seen the Snyder Cut have been amazing. And then the noises we're hearing from the Flash movie using Zack Snyder's VFX team, which is the best in the business. You know, it's all very exciting. Ben Affleck saying he had a great time. The positive noises coming out now. I think it's a much better place to work at DC Live Action, and I'm excited about it, especially what's coming next year. But for the short term, I think it's all about DC fandom and the exciting, surprising announcements we are going to get. I'm not ready You're not ready. I am privy to a couple of the announcements. You will be very, very happy. That's all I will say. I don't know everything. There could be things happening that I don't know about. But one thing I do know, if you want every section of DC fandom or DCEU or DC live action conversation covered, then Movies TV Mad is the only place to be. Not only because of that, because I'm like you, a fan. I love it. When something goes wrong, it hurts, like it hurts you. When we get an exciting announcement, I get as big a boner as you do. Or ladies, I get as wet as you do. That's the point. We are the same, McLeod. We are. We're fans. And I believe fans should support fans. I'm here to give you the information, but also give you my opinion, but also receive your opinions. So please subscribe, comment down below. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And of course, I will be back with more DCEU Daily tomorrow, unless something huge breaks. You never know. So until tomorrow, where you'll have me back again in this beautiful shirt, I will see you for more DCEU Daily on Wednesday. Till then, goodbye and have a lovely day, please.